Hey everybody, this is Zach with Realize the Market, and you're tuned in to the Think Realize the Market podcast. Our goal is to connect with entrepreneurs by providing a platform to help others through their experiences. Today, we're coming to you live from the Small Business Expo in Los Angeles with a very special guest, Anni Weber. Anni, how are you doing today?
Good, feeling good.
Feeling good, feeling great? So why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what it is that you do?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Anni Weber, and I am the founder of a sock brand called Groovy Toejams. It's a pretty funny name. Sounds random, but it's not, because it has a brand mission of supporting and promoting indie musicians and small artists.
That's awesome. So why socks?
Why socks? It was an opportunity. One of my friends owned sock factories overseas, and it was like a great opportunity to sell his socks, and also build a brand that helps musicians, because I once was a music college student. I dropped out after my junior recital because I saw so much value in what I do at Groovy Toejams. So I try to grow this brand, not only to sell. Of course, that's not my final goal. My goal is to build a brand and to benefit and profit indie musicians.
For sure, and I love that outlook, making supporting the musicians the goal, because I mean, music can touch people in ways that are so deep and can go so large. Like, you can scale music to infinity, you know what I mean? And music is so powerful and impactful, and for you to help fund, kind of get people's ideas that are so impactful through socks, I think is really unique and really cool.
Yes.
So what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced when starting Groovy Toejams? Because I mean, apparel and music, I mean, those are both really hard industries.
I know, right? People ask me that question. Like, socks people wear on feet, on music, like, it's so random. How do you connect them together? So that was my biggest challenge when I just started. So I spent a lot of time thinking and experimenting. How can I connect these two items together? So I've made my own business model, like trying to develop this system and make these two items more knit tight together. For example, I reach out to musicians and I feature them on my website. And for example, when I feature them, I offer to make socks, to design socks for them, to manufacture socks for them, and also I start the pre-sale campaign, and percentage of the revenue from that pre-sale campaign goes to their pockets. Again, very transparently, I don't make any money out of musicians' pocket, because that is just against my brand mission, right? So, and also I crowdfund concert for musicians, but they gotta be small, they gotta be indie, because I know they are trying hard to thrive, like the most high-paid job, So
Definitely.
I try to crowdfund concerts for them and try to, bring more and more regular sock consumers to them, and also, so they can be, their visibility can go up.
So I'm just, honestly, I'm pretty blown away by your passion for this, and I'm curious, like, what motivates you? What's driving you to do so much for musicians?
Okay, so I hang out with a bunch of musicians whose talents are so good, like just top in the industry, but they've got no money in their pocket, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially when they're trying to go to music college, So my passion, one of my motivations is to help them. Sounds really cliche, like, I want to be an entrepreneur to help people. Sounds cliche, but it is my passion, one of my passions. Another big motivation of mine is pretty personal. I want to create wealth for my family.
For sure.
For at least the next generations.
Well, I love it, and I think that what you're offering is unique in a way that artists sometimes lack the business acumen to help, maybe make their careers take off or generate enough income that keeps them comfortable. And I love that you're presenting your product in a way that's like bringing the business acumen to the table with a value offer first by, hey, I want to produce these socks for you and help put money in your pocket so you can keep doing what you love.
Yes.
So is there any advice you would give to musicians to help maybe make their career a little bit more comfortable in terms of financial success?
I would say for musicians, if you try to grow, don't say no to opportunities. Like, especially, opportunities that come outside of the music industry. For example, if this like random sock company, Groovy Toejams, wants to, partner with you to offer socks for you, just go grab it, because many musicians close them off, like, kind of, for example, this musician is really, really, really good at saxophone in my network, and he plays great, but and he gives great gigs, but when people are impressed and they try to find him on social media, there's no email address left there. So I would suggest musicians, open yourself up and don't say no to opportunities.
That point of contact is really important too. People being able to find you is a very important thing to have out there, right? If somebody wants to book you but there's no email, or there's no phone number to call, then how are we going to get booked?
Yeah.
So that's great. That's great. And I think a lot of even entrepreneurs and musicians, they fall short on that in creating their social media, their social platforms, right?
Yes.
And being able to keep that information at the forefront. So I love that you say that, because even though it's such a simple thing to do, a lot of people let it go unnoticed or say, oh, well, it won't help me. But if somebody's looking for you, then it is going to help you, right? If some people say, oh, well, it won't help. Well, then I guess then this may not be 100% what you're trying to do, because you want to be passionate about what somebody wants to see from you, right? You want to be passionate about that, and then you also want people to find you, and so you can spread that passion, right? So,
yes.
And some people just, it's really hard to grasp, the social aspect of it, especially whenever you're in your creative head so often. And that's what we see a lot as a marketing agency, is a lot of the companies that we work with, a lot of the owners, they're more design oriented. And so, they rely on us to be able to push that narrative for them and making sure these things are, happening for them. Like they can be contacted.
Which, circling back to you bringing that level of business acumen to the table for musicians, I think is incredibly empowering. So what do you look for in a partnership with a musician? Like, what seems like a good fit for you?
Okay, so first, this musician has to have good social media presentation, or at least have her or his own website, or like just searchable. Like people can find it on website, because I'm an e-commerce brand. Second, this musician needs to be like actively promoting themselves as well. The website can't look just dead, And third, this musician has to be independent, has to be small, because that's my brand mission. And this musician is, if he or she is willing to partner with me, that's basically that's all the requirements. Yeah.
I love it. So, is there any type of measurable success that you've seen come from a direct partnership between Groovy Toejams and a musician?
Say it again, please.
From your perspective,
Yes.
have you seen artist growth come from a partnership with Groovy Toejams?
Yes. So to be honest, my company officially launched in April, and in July we already hosted a concert that a couple of indie musicians came to play, and I brought some other community members and also other like sock customers to them. They became their regular fans. Yeah.
Okay. So, how can business owners and professionals help support arts and musicians in their direct communities? Is there any advice you would have for that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I would say for business owners, if you can provide a platform for musicians to show their music, that would be awesome, because I know a lot of people trying to, raise the awareness of arts and music. But if you create a big platform for them, for example, a restaurant opens up provide space for musicians, not only restaurants but also like like a retail store, a sock store, just all kinds of business owners. If they can provide space for musicians to give a gig, that would be awesome. So I would say platforms.
And on that note, you mentioned about doing crowdfunding to help promote artists' live shows. So I kind of want to talk a little bit more about that, because that's interesting. So what's your main motivator behind getting a concert crowdfunded to ensure that it happens?
So are you saying like where the funds are from, or?
Yeah, like
okay.
Like what is it about you that says like this artist needs to have more live shows happening, so I'm going to create this campaign to make sure it gets funded?
Yeah. So I take percentage out of pre-sale campaign revenue. Of course, those pre-sale campaign are socks that specifically dedicated to one indie musician, and I also take percentage out of regular revenue. They become the funds of next crowdfunding concerts. Once the goal is hit, I start to market and promote and organize and host this concert, usually the in-person concert. So I invite those indie musicians to come to play.
Wow. I really love that, because to me it's like a full ecosystem that you have going on. That's like, hey, I want to help promote you by offering you this sock production, and in turn, like obviously I make a little bit of money, but money goes also into your pocket, where then I can also crowdfund a concert to help promote you and the socks, which in turn feeds me and you constantly.
Yeah, and you gain your visibility. You gain your visibility for music, for your songs through the concert. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love that. That's what we like to call level 3. Level 3. So level 3 is owning a business that helps you and helps the other person that's on the other end of the fence, right? Level 1 being like I'm helping me, but I'm also hurting you. And level 2 is like I'm helping me, but I'm not helping you or hurting you. And level 3 is where I would like to see you, is where you're helping yourself, and you're also helping others while you're going along your journey. I love that. Absolutely loved hearing that.
Thank you.
I do too. So, do you have any plans on expanding outside of socks, or do you want to stay primarily focused on socks?
I would say currently socks, but I'm already having some in T-shirt products published online on groovytoejams.com. For example, this shirt has a slogan says "Music is medicine." So. And in the future, I want it to include more and more accessories and just more clothes. And in the far future, I want to expand this business out of retail industry, e-commerce industry. I want to build it more like 3-dimensional, if you know what I mean.
Like maybe like event organizing, or like what else?
I would say like in person events and online retail, and also communities.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. So how can people find you? How can people get connected with you?
Okay, so if you are a musician, if you're interested in partnership, you can email to Anni Weber at groovytoejams.com. It's ANNIWEBER at groovytoejams.com. Okay, if you are a regular customer, you can just go on my website or find my Instagram, which is Anni Weber. We can have a chat.
For sure. That's awesome. Okay, well, there you have it. I hope the listeners at home enjoyed listening to this as much as we enjoyed having a conversation with you, Anni.
Thank you, Zach.
Thank you for your time, and
thank you.
we hope to see Groovy Toejams reaching as many indie artists as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And I look forward to continue our relationship in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us.